Hello and welcome to my bite-sized guide on to drive or not to drive when you're on holiday in Orlando, Florida. Lots of people when they go to Orlando swear by driving. They wouldn't consider going there without hiring a car. So here are some pros and cons to both. Disclaimer first of all, I've never driven in Orlando, so I have had to contact a couple of people who swear by driving in Florida to get their advice, tips and information on that side of the subject, and I'm able to provide information myself on not driving. So first of all, a big shout out to Alana, thank you so much, and Tahira. You guys are both amazing. Thank you for your help on this segment, thank you. Alright, okay, so first of all, driving in Florida, the advantages: it's easy to get to places, it's convenient, you go where you want, when you want, you don't have to worry about calling Ubers, getting taxis, shuttles, all that sort of stuff. You can leave stuff in the car when you go to places and you don't need to go all the way back to where you're staying to pick up things. You can take shopping back to the car. It's very much convenience and possibly slightly quicker, saving you valuable time while you're in Orlando. It doesn't matter what time of the day or night you want to go out, you're not restricted when you've got a car. Car parks are huge, there's loads and loads of spaces, you don't have to worry about parking when you're out there. Disadvantages to driving in Florida: it can be stressful, you can get lost. Driving is different over in the USA compared to the UK, so you need to be aware of the rules of the road for there. They undertake and overtake out in America. Cars can get really warm during the day with that hot tropical sun shining through the windows, so you have to enter the cars with caution when it's been sat in the sun all day and you've been out having fun at the theme parks. It can be very expensive. A top tip from Tahira is, if you hire a car and you're not particularly happy with the kind of car you have, then contact the hire company and see if they'll swap it for a different car. One year Tahira hired a Cadillac and the bonnet was 9 feet long. They didn't like driving it, so they contacted the hire company and swapped it for a Jeep, which they were much happier with. So if you're not particularly comfortable with the car you've hired, consider swapping it. Do remember though that that will eat into some hours of your holiday. There are loads of ways of getting around Florida if you don't have a car. You've got Uber, Lyft, minivans if you're staying at Disney World. You've got shuttles, bus shuttles services. You've got the iTrolley and iDrive. There's loads of ways of getting about. You'd never be stuck. It's relatively stress-free because you don't have to worry about driving. If you drink alcohol, you can drink when you like because you're not driving. I don't drink, but it's just something that somebody pointed out to me once. The cons are it can take longer for you to get places. Personally, if you're not going to take a car, think carefully about where you're going to stay. For example, I've always stayed recently, certainly, at a Disney Springs area hotel, which provides free shuttles to all the Disney parks. So the only time that I've ever needed to get out of the Disney bubble, if you like, was to get to Universal or to Vineland shopping. If you're using a mobile phone and relying on Wi-Fi to call an Uber, for example, there is Wi-Fi in most places that you'll visit, but then you run the risk you don't have the facility to be connected to Wi-Fi. So that is something to consider. I'm with 3, so I can use my phone in America like I can in the UK, so that was never a problem for me. And I have to say, Ubers always arrive very quickly. You could see on the app where they were, how far away they were. And also you could pre-order an Uber, so if you wanted an Uber for the early in the morning to get to see Universal, if you were staying at Disney Springs, you could pre-order the Uber. I don't think I ever pre-ordered it, I've always just called it when I needed it, but it is something that you can do. The cost. So I asked Alana how much it cost her roughly to hire a car and then factor in petrol, insurance, parking fees at theme parks, hotels, all that sort of stuff. And she reckoned that in a 2-week holiday, this is on the prices for being on holiday in 2017, so last year, she spent about £600 in total on using a car while she was there. Now this can obviously change. I sat and calculated how many taxis and Ubers I got while I was in Orlando last year, and I reckon the entire trip, including transfers to and from the airport, I spent just over $200, so about £160. So it's considerably cheaper not hiring a car. And of course, if I'd wanted to go different places more often, I could have done that. It was just, that's how my holiday worked out. So the pros to not driving are, it saves you a lot of money. It's more relaxing. I mean, just to reassure you, I never had to wait long for an Uber, not even on park closing when we were leaving Universal. We'd actually left the parks early and gone for a meal, but as we finished our meal, the parks were emptying and we still got an Uber almost immediately. The cons to not driving are it can take longer to get places, especially if you're relying on shuttles from your hotel to the parks, but that's something you have to consider and factor into your holiday if you don't want to drive. I was more than happy to do that, and I have to say, I don't feel like it ever added a massive amount of travel time to and from the parks for us. If you're relying on Wi-Fi to call Ubers, then that could be a little disadvantage if there's no Wi-Fi in the area that you need collected from. But as I said before, if you take a mobile phone that you can use in the USA like in the UK, that should not be a problem. Here are some top tips. There's not just Uber, there's also Lyft. You can use minivans. There's the iTrolley on iDrive. There's taxis, there's shuttle buses, free shuttle buses from many hotels. If you're staying on Disney property, then you've got all the Disney transportation available to you at no extra cost. You've got the Magical Express if you're landing at MCO and going to Disney. So there's loads and loads of ways to get around. If you're wondering how much a journey on an Uber will cost, I can't speak for the other apps because I have not used them, but I have used Uber. Even in the UK, I can price a journey. So if I want to know, for example, how much it costs to get from, say, Pop Century to Universal, I know pricing that the other day, it was just over $19, not including tip. So there is a way of checking roughly how much things will cost. Just to remind you though, prices can change. And this is all relevant to the time of recording, which is September 2018. Another top tip, if you are driving, make sure you take out the full insurance. That's what I've been advised by every single person that's driven in Orlando. It's not worth taking any risks. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this video, please give me the thumbs up. Please leave a comment, I love to hear from you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, it really means a lot to me. Please like me on Facebook and follow me on Instagram and Twitter. All the links are below. Thank you so much. Bye bye.